Hello and welcome to NIMASA This Week, the Voice of Maritime. NIMASA This Week is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, the nation's apex authority for regulating and promoting all of the shipping concerns and ocean-going activities within Nigeria. My name is Ubogisian, and as always, I will be your guide on this voyage.
I am Engineer Fidet Okhiria, Managing Director, CEO of Nigerian Railway Corporation. And you are watching NIMASA This Week, the Voice of Maritime. Please stay tuned.
NIMASA This Week, the Voice of Maritime, showing on these stations.
Welcome back. It's still NIMASA This Week, the Voice of Maritime, and straight up, it's the DG's Diary. What has Dr. Bashir Jamo been up to this January 2022? We get to find out. Also on the program, we have Know Your Convention and the continuation of our Stakeholders of the Seas series. We have Barrister Margaret Orakwesi, the industrial fisherwoman, giving us her take on what she sees for the Nigerian maritime industry in 2022. Not to forget our other regulars. So if you're ready, it's anchors away.
Introducing the NIMASA Distress Response Call Lines for all maritime stakeholders, ship owners, seafarers, ship captains. Whatever your challenge or distress in the Nigerian maritime domain, please call 0803 0685 167, 0708 0005 956, 0700 0700 010. If you can't reach us on these lines, please call 0700 0700 020, 0700 0700 030. Also via VHF Radio Channel 16. Call and NIMASA will respond. In a bid to combat maritime insecurity, the Director General of Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dr. Bashir Jamo, has acknowledged members of the maritime industry for their collective quest to tackle maritime insecurity within the region. Dr. Jamo made this known at the 4th plenary of the Shade Gulf of Guinea Maritime Collaboration Forum. According to him, we are seeing a positive effect of Shade GOG in addressing piracy and armed robbery by providing a framework for collective response to ensure that we achieve a complete regional buy-in. On the Deep Blue project, we are on the verge of taking the delivery of outstanding additional assets and platforms, having completed all essential training for our personnel, as we remain hopeful that with the tireless efforts of Nigerian Navy, we shall witness expanded deployment and more robust operational presence of both air and surface assets by the second quarter of 2022 in the region.
On Deep Blue project, we are on the verge of taking the delivery of outstanding additional assets and platforms, having completed all the essential training for our personnel. You will recall that in the last meeting, I made mention the approval of the Federal Executive Council for the logistic support of the assets to the tune of about 6.3 billion. I'm happy to announce that I'm just coming back for another Federal Executive Council meeting that approved the 2.7 billion for the clearing of the remaining assets. So we hope before the end of this first quarter, the entire asset for the Deep Blue project will be available. We are hopeful that with these tireless efforts of our Nigerian Navy, we should witness expanded deployment and more robust operational presence of both air and surface assets by the first quarter.
Dr. Jamo reiterated the importance of collaboration between international, regional, and state stakeholders to underpin every effort, as it is the only pathway to safe seas for shipping.
Permit me at this juncture to reiterate the importance of cooperation between international and regional navies and states. There is no I in team. Unilateral Navy action in the Gulf of Guinea does not serve the interests of seafarers, and it undermines the trust in any partnership. To make our framework more sustainable, collaboration is an imperative. Cooperation must be watchword. Coordination must underpin every effort. Communication must be collective.
According to the DG, we need to explore with urgency the possibility of hosting the 5th plenary meeting of the Shade in Abuja between mid to late April as a centerpiece to other maritime meetings. Dr. Jamo reassured stakeholders of Nigeria on NIMASA's commitment to the Shade process and delivery of safe maritime environments. The Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Dr. Bashiru Jamo, has reiterated the agency's commitment to helping Nigerians reap the derivable benefits from the nation's waters. He made this known while speaking at the inauguration of expanded committee by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osibajo, on the maiden meeting of the Expanded Partnership Committee on Sustainable Blue Economy held at the Presidential Villa. In his words, the agency has taken very proactive measures aimed at helping Nigerians and foreign direct investors to trade more profitably in the nation's waters and the Gulf of Guinea. The Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, in thinking ahead, had championed the move for enhanced maritime security through procurement of deep blue assets for enhanced maritime security, he said. The assets, the Director General added, are contributing to the reduction in maritime insecurity, piracy, sea robbery, and other crimes in Nigerian waters and the Gulf of Guinea. The administration had activated steps at addressing eradication of marine litters, wreck removal for seamless and accident-free navigation, and promotion of human capital development through the Nigerian Seafarers Development Program, NSDP, and other initiatives, he added. The expanded committee includes Nigerian government institutions, private sector participants like banks, professional bodies, intergovernmental multilateral organizations like Maritime Organization of West and Central Africa, MOCA, and the African Development Bank, AFDB, and non-governmental organizations.
I think we became bolder. We made our presence felt by Nigerians. Don't forget the COVID. The ports were not shut. Goods were coming in, and the agencies were also working. Everything was just going on, whereas in some industries things were completely shut down. So it's credit to the maritime industry, and because we were able to do that, people are appreciating what maritime is all about. So COVID also advertised our services, and so 2021, a lot, we achieved a lot. NIMASA was able to continue the work they are doing on their registry, and vessels coming in, making sure that some, in quotes, contrabands are not were not brought in. So they kept the maritime industry going on. I think we do very well in 2022 because certain things have been put into motion. When we talk about maritime security, it is seriously being handled now. We can see the platforms out there so that at least for a pirate to leave his comfort zone to go to the sea to attack people unchallenged, that will no longer happen because of all the platforms that are out there. If I'm sending my vessel to sea, I will have some comforts that I have people who are policing the waters. And another thing that goes on with that is the issue of poaching. We have all these big foreign ships from all sorts of places in the world, Europe, the Asian countries. They come into our waters and they steal our natural resources unchallenged. With all these platforms, we should be able to arrest that situation. So, safe waters, kick the pirates out of the waters and catch the poachers because it's quite, it's huge. Unknown to people, Africa, Nigeria, we are losing a lot of our resources in terms of billions of dollars annually to the activities of these foreign criminals. I am very, very excited. Before I talk as a lawyer, I'll talk as a victim. I have, well, my crew and vessels have experienced piracy attacks for so many years. So many years. Kidnappings, piracy attacks, vandalization of our vessels and all what. And these people operated unchallenged. You know, no matter the information you give back, the fact is that nobody challenged them. If they were challenged, no result because the attacks kept on going on the increase. To tell you how bad it was, Nigeria had a fleet, trawlers, of over 200. We had about 30-something fishing companies, industrial fishing, in this country, right? Because of piracy and everything, drastically reduced to maybe about 9, you know? So that is the effect of piracy attacks on our operation, you know? And we lost a lot of crewmen. Okay, the vessels are investments. You can never equate that to one life. But we lost a lot, you know. So you can begin to understand how excited I am that not only do we have forces there that can arrest pirates, we can actually take them to court, have them tried and jailed, you know. I think that alone gives a lot of confidence for us to go out there and do our legitimate business. I understand that NIMASA has taken on the role of removing the wrecks in the waters. These are obstructions to the water ways. So when that is done, at least some of us will go to bed with both eyes closed, that when our vessels are approaching the Nigerian side of the waters, that there won't be accidents. So wreck removal is very, very important. And some countries actually depend heavily on income generated from wrecks. So that will also create revenue for the country. So, and just keep the channels free from obstruction, keep them free from criminal activities. And then I would also like to see NIMASA play more role towards safety. If a vessel should catch fire, we can go to rescue them by having firefighting equipment. And I keep giving this example of what happened in New York when the plane landed in the waters and how efficiently people were moved out of danger. If such a thing should happen here, what happens? So we should, at the same time we are thinking about generating revenue, we should also do things that we attract more businesses and sustain more businesses in the country.
Our world-class Maritime Experience Center is now live, announcing Maritime Stakeholders Experience Contact Center, MSECC, where you'll get simple, fast, and tailored solutions to all your maritime challenges on maritime safety, maritime labor, marine pollution, search and rescue, cabotage issues, ship registration, training and certification, and any other maritime-related issues. Contact us via the polling channels 23401-630-9590. Email us at contactcenter@nimasa.gov.ng, info@nimasa.gov.ng. Chat with us www.nimasa.gov.ng and on Facebook at NIMASA Official. Let's resolve all your maritime related issues.
Hello viewers, welcome to this segment of Know Your Conventions on NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime. I am Olabisi George, and very early in the year we'll be setting the tone and speaking on international maritime conventions. To have that conversation with me today are two international maritime law experts, and in the person of Mr. Peter Agbaminodja, Assistant Director, Legal Services Unit. You're welcome to the segment, sir. And also Mrs. Ronke Adekeye, Chief Legal Officer of Legal Services Unit, NIMASA. You're welcome to this segment also.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And Mr. Peter, can I start with you? By way of introduction, since we'll be speaking on what exactly are international maritime conventions, can you give us a background or introduction to how international maritime conventions came about?
International maritime conventions are basically a segment of international conventions. And international conventions are multilateral treaties, which are treaties involving more than 2 or more states governing an issue that is of mutual interest to the states. So when you're talking about the history of international maritime conventions, you have to roll back to at least 500 years ago in the states around the Mediterranean in Europe, such as Italy, Spain, Portugal, who were the first states to advance in trading at the seas and had to expand their business into other states of Europe. And in the process, there were conflicts recurring frequently. And at a point, it was determined that it may be necessary to come together and make rules that are designed to minimize these conflicts. So that was how it continued to develop over the years until the 20th century, when the shipping business had developed to an extent with the development of steamships and the growth of the size of ships to the point where ships became not only vehicles for progress, but a potential threat to the passengers, the crew, and the marine environment. And as a result of this, we had the first major international convention in 1914 in response to the sinking of the Titanic in 1914, and the Safety of Life at Sea Convention, SOLAS, arose from the sinking of the Titanic. And that was how, over the years, international maritime conventions continued developing in response to current or emerging threats or problems in shipping. And as at today there are several hundreds of regulations and conventions dealing with.
You had talked about conflicts, you talked about threats, and which is leading to, or which has led to having these international conventions. Can you just give us a tiny picture of what these threats and conflicts are about?
A very illustrative picture can be drawn from.
You also mentioned the Titanic sinking.
Yes, but let me speak about marine pollution.
Okay.
Because that is a very contemporary problem, not only in shipping, but all over the world. As ships became bigger, and tanker ships especially, it got to the point where ships were transporting across the oceans millions of liters of petroleum, whether crude or refined products, at a moment in time. And from the 1960s downwards, so many ships sinking and spilling huge volumes of crude into the oceans. And not only will this cause economic loss to the owners of the vessel, but it will spill into the marine environment and destroy very priceless sea life, such as species that are on the list of species that are likely to go into extinction. So because of this, it became very, very necessary to make rules that are designed to prevent the pollution of the environment. And that was how the MAPO Convention came into being.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Mrs. Adekeye, Mr. Peter has given us a background of how these international conventions came into play. I mean, he has given us the nature of the threats and conflicts that needs to be addressed. What exact body is responsible all over the world for these international maritime conventions?
The main body responsible for international maritime conventions is the International Maritime Organization, which which is the main agency, I would say, of the United Nations, which is responsible, exactly, a specialized agency which specializes in global shipping. IMO is actually comprised of 5 organs: the General Assembly, the Council, and the committees. And the committees, which include the Maritime Environment Committee, Protection Committee, they are the ones at that level which they develop the conventions, which will then be sent to the General Assembly to be voted on, and they eventually become conventions. For example, we have the Ballast Water Convention. We have the Nairobi Wreck Removal Convention. Those are 2 conventions that were developed at the committee level and eventually led to a vote in the General Assembly.
From what both of you have established, it appears that these conventions are in response to a threat. Probably they're usually reactive to something that has happened before. I mean, the International Maritime Organization speaks to it. Is that what happens? Is that the case?
You are correct. In that regard, there are 2 broad categories of conventions. You have
under the maritime sector.
Yes. You have conventions that are actually a response to a great maritime incident, such as the SOLAS, which was a direct response to the loss of 2,000 lives and above during the Titanic sinking in 1912. Then you have other conventions that are actually a proactive measure designed to prevent things from going wrong, or merely to set standards for the regulation of certain aspects of shipping. In this regard, you may be looking at the Maritime Labour Convention, which is known as the Super Convention. This convention arose from a need to come together and consider various issues that have affected the lives of seafarers over the years. And the convention is so exhaustive that it has looked not only into how seafarers are trained, how they are engaged, it even looks into what will be done if a seafarer dies while he's at work.
Welcome back. It's still NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime. And we go straight to the DJ's weekly column in The Guardian, Maritime Mandate. And this week, DG is emphasizing the need and the desirability of a maritime bank. Whether we like it or not, maritime is capital intensive. You can continue the conversation with the DG across all of his social media handles currently showing on your screen, and also at NIMASA Official. However, when it comes to doing business, we continue to emphasize the need to play by the rules and the need to ensure that all of your documentations are up to date as far as playing in the Nigerian maritime space is concerned, be it the registration of your ships or the various applications for licenses to enable you operate fully across the entire maritime industry value chain. The NIMASA official website must remain your first port of call, as shown on your screen, because maritime is heavily regulated. Thank you for watching today's episode of NIMASA This Week, the voice of maritime. We have a very popular saying in the world of sea adventures, and it is this, that the art of the sailor is to leave nothing to chance. Perhaps one reason you're struggling currently with your situation is because you left something to chance. Well, you can learn from this saying. The art of a true sailor is to leave nothing whatsoever to chance. So, till I see you next time, my name remains Ubong Isian, and I'm asking you to leave nothing to chance and stay on course. Bye-bye.